Welcome to our video. I'm going to be teaching chess how to play against the English opening because I think it's starting to meet it a lot lately. So yeah, if you like our video,
subscribe, leave a like, follow us at Twitch on ACL.
okay, good.
Let's get into the video.
Okay, good. So you reached the English opening after c4, and black has got a lot of responses. What I'm going to be recommending is to play c5 here. This is usually ideal, especially if you play the Sicilian like you do against e4, because some lines might go back into the Sicilian. So after c4,
If
c5,
white plays like e4,
if white plays
e4.
yes. If in some of the lines white plays e4, it could come back to the Sicilian. But that's not really the reason why we play it. It's independent as a system and it's quite dependable. So some lines could resemble, let's say after knight f3, g6, which is what I'm going to be advocating for. If white goes e3 here, you continue with knight f6, and after d4, take on d4, and you play d5. This will be more like
a d4.
It's a line from the Karokan that you would have reached here.
Kind of looks like a d4.
Yeah, it looks like a d4, but it's definitely a line from the Karokan. Another possibility is c4, c5, and after knight f3, g6, always g6, like after knight f3, and
what if like white played g3? I'll probably play g6 though.
yeah.
That's me.
Okay, so if they go something like knight c3, just continue with something like bishop g7, and you're still fine. So this will be more like some of the lines we would have looked at in the Sicilian, and they will make sense. But anyway, after c4, c5, definitely the most popular continuation is to start with knight f3 for white, and here we want you to play g6, and there is a few continuations for white here. G6 is definitely the most precise move order, which limits options.
Okay.
White can go d4 here, and here you take, c takes d4,
knight takes d4,
knight takes d4.
bishop g7.
So after knight d4, what you do is you go knight c6. Okay. The problem with playing bishop g7 is that your opponent can play e4.
Knight c3?
Yeah, but the problem is that, so what you don't want is that if you go bishop g7, right? Now, by the time you play knight c6,
that pawn could go.
So let's say you go bishop g7, he goes e4. So you go bishop g7, he goes e4. By the time you play knight c6, you can now play bishop e3, because now this pawn has been developed. Make sense? So the correct move order is after knight here, you play knight c6. Now, if he plays bishop e3, this bishop is in front of the pawn.
And knight to knight. Yeah, but what if white plays e4 again?
Well, if he plays e4 now, oh, I see what you mean. So if he goes e4 now there is, I think,
bishop to g7, then bishop e6.
Then bishop e3, then he gets that same position. But now I think you might have knight f6. Just simply attacking this pawn.
Knight c3.
And now if knight c3, he's got now knight d4. and after queen d4, he's got bishop g7. And now black is going to gain a tempo on this
that tempo won't do much though.
Yeah, but still it's a tempo. The queen will have to move from d4, right?
But you can't play a knight to d5. That's impossible. Otherwise, that queen's gonna be like moink, 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 Pac-Man.
Okay, but you get the idea, right? So the correct move order is to play knight c6 here, immediately challenging the knight.
But the ace discovers why it's gonna have to be careful.
Yeah.
Like if he castles on king side, then queen to c7. When black's also castle on king side, he has to watch out for knight to be g4.
Yeah, later on, right?
Yeah, he has to watch out for that.
But here, after knight c6, white has got about 3 choices. You can play e4 here, still heading for the same structure. You can play g3, which is what most actually English players want to do. You can also play knight c3. So let's look at them, break them down one by one. If he goes e4, this move leads to familiar Maroczy-bind lines. So what you do here
leads to that line where you play knight k4.
Yeah, you play knight f6, and we've looked at this in
the long run.
In the Sicilian lines.
And this is just the right for a second.
So the other way to continue is to go g3. So here, after g3, you just go bishop g7, and if knight c2,
the knight's poorly placed.
Yeah, you can continue with queen a5 check. Here I just want to point out that if, let's say, they play something like e3, this is not really the most ambitious continuations. You go d6, and if they go bishop g2, you just continue with bishop d7, and black is making more progress on his development. And another idea is that instead of e3 here, because now you're challenging the knight, they could play knight b3. And here, immediately what you do is you play d6 with the idea of putting your bishop on e6, and this pawn is very difficult for white to defend because his bishop is coming the other way, right? So going back to knight c2, here, queen a5 check.
Bishop to d2?
Yes, bishop d2. And again, because the bishop is coming this way, you put pressure on the c4 pawn.
And attacking b2.
This is always quite tricky to deal with.
And attacking b2.
So bishop c3, he has to play. And
g takes b, c3.
No, you don't want to exchange. Just the simple knight f6.
Just blocking him.
Yeah, and developing your piece.
And you're leaving your queen there.
Yeah, accepting the pawn sacrifice is unnecessarily risky. So I just wouldn't do that. Just the simple knight f6 work.
I wouldn't want to deal with that pawn and with the g6, g2 fire open.
Correct, yeah.
So I would just sacrifice the pawn out of nowhere.
Okay, so going back, after e4, c5, knight f6, g6 is our choice move. d4, check on d4, knight d4, knight c6. So here we looked at e4, we looked at g3. The last move we want to look in this particular respect is knight c3. You continue with bishop g7, and here The knight again is under threat. So knight c2.
That's a poor place knight again.
And here, black has a nice move here. It is difficult to think of if you haven't studied the theory. And that's bishop c3. Normally you don't give up this bishop, but in this case, after bc3, in a5, bishop d2, knight
I won't
f6.
even give up my bishop only if it's a rook sometimes.
Yeah, but you can see that here, black is threatening a lot of things. Like knight e4 is a threat.
It's a
So
giant threat.
f3,
If they just kicking the knight away from her business.
exactly. So d6, immediately developing another piece. And after e4, to continue with the move, queen e4,
When was
queen
this
e5.
game
Sorry,
played?
sorry, not this one, but this one.
When was this game played?
Correct. And this move, queen a4, puts pressure on c4 and also opens up for the knight to come and attack c4, right? And here black is better. The queen side pawns are very weak, and this is something like really worth playing for.
Experiencing.
Yeah.
Experience.
So going back, after c4, c5,
Experiencing.
knight f3,
Oh,
g6. Here, after g6, white can play e3, just simply trying to go for the d4. So here I want to recommend a knight f6
okay.
to keep our options open after d4. Okay.
I think it's gonna be a harder opening for white sometimes.
So after d4, there is two options. You can play take on d4 here, e takes d4, and continue with d5. This is the Panov line that I was talking about earlier, which comes from the Caro-Kann. Or you can continue with bishop g7, delaying the exchange.
Have you ever had that position where all your pawns are advanced
Yeah,
and almost all but where you castled and then you just storm the person's king like
yes, I've heard.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now.
So this is playable.
Like Stormtroopers.
The other line is that after c4, c5, knight f3, g6, white can play knight c3 here. And here I recommend bishop g7, and after g3, knight c6, bishop g2, e5.
Okay.
And I think overall, if you kind of look at these lines, you would have covered most of what you need to be able to start at least playing the English or play against the English. The symmetrical is quite nice because I like it because it kind of combines your knowledge of the Sicilian and and an independent system, so it kind of gels together quite nicely. Okay. Any questions on how to play this system?
It looks weird.
Okay, good. So you need to test it and then tell me how weird it is on the results front, and then we'll take it from there. All right?
Okay. We probably
Okay.
needed another video on this.
Yeah. I mean, you dig deep, but I want you to first try it and then see what you run into, and then we take it from there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope it's useful for you too.